Hey guys, Zog here and welcome back to another Conflict of Nations video. So yeah guys, we're back on some Conflict of Nations. Today we're going to be talking about Flashpoint. Kind of just all about the game mode, everything I kind of think about it, kind of the easiest way I think to win the game mode if this is something that you want to do. If this is, one of your favorite game modes, then I definitely highly recommend to watch this game. I think Flashpoint is one of the earliest kind of game modes you could do, so this is also kind of for new players. But we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. Obviously, if you guys clicked on the video, you guys probably saw that thumbnail. And so we're going to just kind of go down the list of kind of the best country. We're going to do the top 5, I guess, countries that I think you should choose. And there are pretty much, I think, 5 countries I think you should definitely choose out of, how many ever they are. I think there's like 28 or 32 players that could be in this. So, but there's definitely 5 countries that I would say at least are the best ones that you should be. So we're going to go through those 5 countries first, then we're going to talk about, just kind of what things you should research overall, like I do in most videos, and also, what kind of coalitions you should join. But like I said, or like I kind of say in every video, every game is situational, really anything can happen. You can go up against the enemy who's golding. If you don't have Security Council, you're kind of at a disadvantage, so just take everything with a grain of salt. You're not going to win every game, and not all of my advice is going to completely help whatever your situation in your game is. So now that we got all of that out of the way, I would say the top 5 countries for the Flashpoint game mode is definitely, well, one of them is definitely the United States. So I guess we'll talk about that one. In this game, as you guys will see, I am playing as Canada, and we'll talk about that later. But United States is definitely one of the best countries because if you guys saw the thumbnail, or I'll just show you guys now, this is the entire map. So it's basically like Europe mostly. And then it also has the United States, Canada, Cuba, basically on this side. And Europe's kind of like the main thick of it. It's kind of this huge area over here. And then on the right side, we have stuff like Turkey, Iran, Russia, and stuff like that. So obviously, you guys would probably want to pick a country on either the left side or the far right side. And for the main reason for that, if you guys can't tell already, is because obviously you can't get attacked from these sides. So your only really threat, let's just say if you're Russia, the only real threat of you getting attacked is either from the north, the south, or the west right here. And same thing you could say with the United States. You only have a threat of getting attacked from Canada, Cuba basically, from the north and south. And then of course you can get attacked from the east with any of these European countries over there. So that's one of the main reasons I have these top 5 countries as the top 5, because it's United States, it's Canada, it's Cuba, and then it's also, I would say, Russia and Iran are the kind of 5 main countries that I would prioritize trying to get. Now, if you don't get any of these 5 countries, that's fine. There's still other good options that I'll kind of touch on maybe. But I would say the number 1, or yeah, well, I guess we'll go say number 1 country I think that you should go as, or maybe I think there's really 2 that I think are the best, and you can kind of choose either or of them if you have the chance to, and that is definitely Canada and Iran down here. And the reason for that is not only is it kind of like Russia, same thing, you can get attacked north and south, but for Iran, you cannot get attacked to the south. You can only really get attacked to the north and the west. And that goes the same for Canada. You can't get attacked from the north or the west. You can only get attacked from the south and the east. So you're basically in the corner of the maps right here, and that's why it's so vital to really try to, select these countries before you get into a game. That's why, anytime I join a game, I check if there's any good players in it at first, and I try to get into a game if there's like 5 or 10 people in it out of 32 or whatever, just so you can have a good chance that you can get your country. And of course, if you don't find the country or one of the top 5 countries that I'm telling you to choose, you don't have to, join that game. You could just archive it, and then it'll just, archive you out. Or if you don't select the country, I don't think they even count you in as being an active player in it. So if you guys don't have any of these countries to choose from, then you don't have to even play the game or that specific match. So yeah. So now that we got that out of the way with the countries and kind of why that's very important, I guess we'll kind of talk about coalitions first, because that's pretty damn important as well. So for example, I'm in Canada and I completely took over the United States. I completely took over Cuba. Now, depending on what your situation is on the game, let's just say you're Canada, like me, and you have an ally, United States, and also Cuba, who are, just to say, high-ranking players. Maybe they're similar skill level to you, either better, or if they're weaker, I'd probably try to take them over. But if they're as good as you and you're a good player and you know that, or if they're stronger than you, I would highly recommend you try to stay in a coalition with them. And that's just because they are basically your main threat. There's only 3 countries here on the west side of the map, that being Canada, US, and Cuba. So I would definitely make ties with them if they're really, really strong players. And that goes for the same over here. If you're Iran, I would definitely make ties with either Syria, Iraq, Turkey, Russia, Ukraine would be nice, maybe even Finland. Try to get into a coalition with them just so you can really strengthen your ties and your overall just trying to chance at getting a win. Because if you make ties with really strong players, and of course they're near you and you're already a country like, let's just say, Iran, it's going to be hard for even skilled players to win the game if you have at least a decent team. It's going to be hard for them to win just because you're pushing out so many troops and maybe they're getting attacked from a different front. Another good example of that is if you're Germany, let's just say, and you have, an enemy of Poland to the east, an enemy of France to the west, even Italy and even Norway and Sweden can attack you from the north and south. So, something like Germany is a lot harder to do. But like I said, everything is situational in your specific match. So yeah, that's kind of with the coalition. Try to make really good ties just with whoever you're around, and all that good stuff. And then now we'll talk about things to research. So, of course, it's different for every game, and it's, you want to start kind of researching everything. That's kind of something I've been really trying to focus on with, research with this game, and specifically, definitely have a infantry. Always, I would say, go motorized infantry. Now, it's kind of preference. I know some nations, I think Canada actually spawns with a National Guard that you could deploy. So that's also nice, and they also have a personal armor buff. It gives them some more HP as a little thing you can get like day 4. So it's really nice having Canada and other certain doctrines like the European doctrine, which this one is. So any European doctrines I think spawn with the National Guard already researched, so that's also good to have. Air mobile research, I can't speak. Airborne infantry is also pretty damn important. It's pretty expensive to make, but if utilized in the right way, this could be very, very good with their air assault move that they could do. They could basically, if you have airfields down or air bases and cities and stuff like that, you could basically send them out and they could like deploy there in an hour or less, depending on where they're going to go. Just basically with a helicopter and just attack there basically instantaneously in game. So it's very, very important if you could utilize that good. But I would definitely recommend you guys use, at least if you're any type of well, you definitely need the infantry for sure, but at least get the motorized infantry, as they're very, very strong. Overall, they just have good stats, good bonuses. They're just, basically the jack of all trades. And on top of that, when they get their final kind of thing, they also have a form of artillery. So if you have a security council, you could set these guys on aggressive and they'll kind of auto mortar. Because I wouldn't say it's like an artillery. Well, it is an artillery, but it's not as big as a range as an actual, let's just say multiple rocket launcher or something like that. So definitely go for at least motorized infantry. In terms of armor, I'm leaning towards the armored fighting vehicle, and that mainly is because it actually costs components to research and make. I know that if you actually have a lot of supplies, then I might go for the combat recon vehicle, and that costs mainly supplies and a little bit of components to make, and they also have really, really good stats. Going in, well, they have no stats, that's the thing. But compared to every other tanks, they have some good stats in some things, but really bad stats in other provinces or wherever they're fighting, basically. But the recon tank is nice because you're able to spot enemy units from far away, wherever they're situated at. So you could spot enemy units where they are, and kind of a little, basically acting as a little radar. And they won't have any debuffs, so they attack pretty well and defend. So combat recon vehicle is something you should consider. And if not that, then maybe I would go armored fighting vehicle. Main battle tank can be nice, has a lot of HP. And of course, tank destroyer is also nice. I wouldn't worry about amphibious combat vehicle. But I would definitely lean towards armored fighting vehicle and combat recon. Armored fighting vehicle, I'll just go over that for pretty quickly. It's just really, really good. against infantry. So as long as you can kill their infantry, the idea is that if you kill their infantry, then they won't be able to claim the land. So the armored fighting vehicle is very good in that aspect. Once you have like an army base level 3 or 4 in at least one of your cities, then I would start making things like a multiple rocket launcher. Definitely consider getting the mobile anti-air vehicle pretty early on. It really depends, like I said, you know, everything's a situation, guys, and whatever is going on in your game mode. Like, say if your enemy just starts making strike fighters early on and they're already attacking you day 5, day 10, yeah, I would say get mobile anti-air vehicle, especially if you're losing. As it fights as like a kind of little tank or infantry unit itself, as you can see, it does damage to infantry, tanks, stuff like that, and of course, it's mainly good against helicopters, but it also attacks fixed wings. So it's kind of good overall. Can't really go wrong with it. And you could get it day 1, so it's very, very nice to have that. Later on, I'd definitely get the theater defense system. You're just going to need that, especially if you go against guys who are using missiles. And the multiple rocket launcher is also very, very nice here, especially if you have security council. You could just have these guys on aggressive, set them where you need, or send them in compositions and stacks. Obviously, all these things you're going to have in one stack, so definitely infantry with tanks, you know, anti-air, and rocket launchers can be really, really nice. I'd actually, you know, I like doing the multiple rocket launchers separate and kind of unit stacks of 5 and stuff like that, or 10, and that'll kind of just like you could send that around, especially if you have security council, set them on aggressive, send them around in a large stack, and they'll just kind of destroy and wreak havoc and bomb whatever they see. Helicopters I wouldn't really worry about, but you definitely need some type of air force. Definitely get the air superiority fighter. You're gonna need this basically for every air force. This is the thing, it's in the name, air superiority fighter. This is like the thing that takes out everything else in the sky. So definitely get the air superiority fighter. Then after that, I would either consider the strike fighter or I would consider the bomber. So I like to do recently the air superiority fighter and then the bomber, just so I could have like a stack of 5 air superiority fighters to kind of patrol around, you know, take out whatever aircraft they might have, and then I come in there with my bombers, and they have a really long patrol range, so they could bomb from very far away and come back to their base. So the bombers are very, very nice, as well as just kind of something that can actually take out stuff on the ground. Navy, I would definitely recommend patrol boats if you are going against someone who's attacking you early game. Definitely going to need these to defend your coasts, but if not, definitely go for corvette and frigate. Definitely get corvette for sure, just because it's the only thing that only costs like components mainly. So definitely get corvette. You could see here, just so I could show you guys, I guess I'll show you guys that 1500 yeah, supplies right there, and you know, all the other usual stuff, and then everything else costs mainly components. So yeah, components there for the frigate. For the destroyer, it's components, and so on and so forth. Everything else is components. So definitely get corvette, definitely get frigate, because frigates are really good just against mostly everything, because they have their actual own anti-air capabilities. So that would definitely go to get and I always kind of prioritize Navy in my games. Definitely go for a corvette and a frigate early on in your game. It's also good for resource management with the supplies, like I said. So yeah, you can consider submarines, but I wouldn't really consider them. I mean, maybe, depends, you know, everything's situational. And then of course, you know, I say this in most of my videos now, definitely go for missiles. Now, this is obviously situational too, but it's more of a mid to late game thing. Now for this game, I am day 22. So now's the kind of time between day 22 and day 30 that I would consider making missiles. But it really depends on what you're going up against. So let's actually take a look here in this game, just to kind of show you who we're up against. So in this game, I'm allied with Germany and Poland. Germany has all this kind of land. They have France, they have, of course, Germany, a bunch of other stuff, and UK. And then they're starting to go in Spain and Algeria. And then Poland has all kind of this area, Russia, stuff like that. Now they're going up into Finland. And our main adversary that's going to be here, that we're probably going to start war with pretty damn soon, is Bulgaria. And Bulgaria has basically all of this land kind of below Germany and below mainly Poland. So that's who we're going to face. it looks like we're definitely going to win, just because he might have the most cities and VP points, and I actually might have the least amount of stuff like that. I mean, I did actually get attacked by Cuba and United States early on in the game, so I had to kind of, you know, suffer through that and then beat those you know, players and stuff like that. They were weaker players, so I knew I could probably have them. So I dealt with Cuba and United States early on, so that's why I'm kind of at the least of the leaderboards, but it should be no problem. As I said before, coalitions is a huge thing, so I'm just allied with 2 other strong players. So I got a level 37 right there in Germany and a level 28 in Poland. If we take a look at Bulgaria, he's just by himself and he's a level 34. He'll definitely put up a fight, but there's no chance basically as long as we're communicating with each other, we're active, and we have a good, strong, like I said, ground composition, good stacks of infantry combined with anti-air, all that good stuff, and then, you know, having a good air force and navy along with that. So we're gonna attack Bulgaria pretty soon, and that'll be pretty good. And he's all this stuff, like I said. So yeah, that's kind of everything I think I should mention. I hope I'm not forgetting anything, but yeah, I think that's it. That's kind of the main guide, I would say, for Flashpoint. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely like and subscribe for more Conflict of Nations content. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Zalk, out.